Okay, everyone, today we're going to talk about industrialization, and basically your entire life goes to industrialization, to the shirt that you're wearing, to the iPhone that you might be listening to this on, or the Android if you like Android, which really isn't as good, but whatever. So we're really going to get into this today and understanding why the West or Western Europe was able to dominate the world. Now, let's just talk about some basic idea. What is industrialization? And this is a process that transformed agrarian and handicraft-centered economies into economies distinguished by industry and machine manufacturing. So we are going to make more things and we are going to use non-human power to do it. And the keys here are going to be new technological developments and use of fossil fuels, as well as new economic organizational systems, stuff like capitalism and stuff like that. Now, the main areas that we're going to be talking about, Great Britain by far, they're going to be the first ones out, and then eventually, like the USA, Germany, and Japan are going to catch up. And there were a lot of factors. By the late 1700s into the early 1800s, you're going to get higher agricultural yields, which means less people have to farm. You're going to get increased population density, which means that people need to do different jobs and they need to specialize. So as a result, new industries will be born. You also have navigable rivers, canals, and great roads, which all foster trade, and a large number of towns and cities that had banking, financial institutions, and, in all honesty, places to buy and sell stuff. Now, what really is also the key thing is going to be the use of coal. Prior to this, you had a lot of wood that was used, but wood, whereas it may smell good, is tremendously influential, and, wood, when you cut down all the trees, we don't have any oxygen and we die. So coal is really incredible. Now, what you are going to get is, with the impact of the use of coal, you actually are going to save some trees, but you're still going to lose other stuff anyway. And a lot of it does come down to luck. Turns out Great Britain, if we go over to this map here, as you can see, Great Britain has a lot of coal, and Germany throughout here has a lot of coal. Now, all this other stuff is going to get discovered much later on. Of course, the USA, we're fairly huge in coal, but you can see China and Russia will have a lot. But China's coal was really hard to get to, so it was really hard for them to eventually, get there. And that's going to be really important. And so, in the end, the results of this, by this use of coal, which is going to be the main thing that helps steam power, is going to put the Europeans, primarily Britain, ahead. Now, the colonies here are just huge. Okay, first and foremost, the colonies provide lots of provisions like sugar and cotton and things along that line. They also provide markets where you can actually sell your finished goods back to them. They also trade themselves in grain, timber, beef, and again, these other raw goods that we need. And in the end, you can get lots and lots of cash from your colonies, and they can increase your profits, and it will allow nations and businesses to put more money into technological development, and you can also foster demand. And as we can see by the map here on the right, pretty much the whole world was a colony, and so that's really going to help Europe have the money for industrialization. And then the key thing, guys, here's the thing, is that you need mechanization. You need these things that are going to do the work for you. And the guy and the really the area where this is going to be crucial at will be textiles, because everybody needs clothes, so that kind of makes sense. John Kay is going to create the flying shuttle for weaving in 1733. On the bottom here, you have Samuel Crompton's mule that was able to create stronger thread from cotton, and this is going to be a steam-powered device. And then Edmund Cartwright creates the water-powered loom that actually can form the thread that you can get from Samuel Crompton's thing into actual fabric. And all of these are really getting going in the 1730s, and then by the 1830s, to give you an idea, 8 or 500,000 people will be working in the textile industry, and Britain will earn 40% of its income for it. So textiles showed us the way. So believe it or not, it's your shirt that led to your phone. But in the end, it was steam power, and there were a lot of different guys that created different types of steam engines and stuff like that. But it was James Watt, as you see here down here, who as a little boy, the story goes, watched a tea kettle and wanted to know why the little flap got pushed up and down when the water got hot. And he's going to really investigate steam until eventually he creates a steam invention or a steam engine. And the whole idea of a steam engine is that coal is boiled to create intense heat, to boil water, which will create pressure in a closed container that will allow the steam pressure to push things along. And they'll use it for water pumps first to help with flooding in mines, and then eventually in textiles, and move forward. And here's a little picture of that engine. So as you can see, pretty good. Now, the key thing here, though, is transportation. Steam is what is going to allow us to have the key things: locomotives or trains and steamships, the most famous of which being on the bottom left, Titanic. Now that really didn't work out too well, but whatever. Locomotives, the first one was created by George Stephenson in the year 1815 out of Britain, and then steamships, which Samuel Fulton out of the United States really created the best. What you can do with these types of things is now you can move huge cargoes. It can be faster and cheaper. So if shipping is cheaper and faster, the products cost less and people can buy more, which increases profits for businesses, which means they can make more stuff and have more jobs. You will also relate in a more mobile population. For instance, this will help with the westward spread of the United States population, for instance. And you really will get massive spread in trade and building of the economics and massive movement of the population. And here's just a little video to get a sense of how the engine works of a steam train.
Built $600,000 boiler has arrived. It sits beside its
So these guys here are rebuilding an 1800s train, a steam train, and here's how it works.
The boiler has a firebox at the rear where coal or oil is burned and heats up water.
Then, of course, it was always coal.
The boiler is kept nearly full at all times. The steam builds pressure just like a tea kettle, and that is gathered in the steam dome. Inside the dome is a valve controlled by the engineer. When he opens it, the high-pressure steam is let into a big pipe running to the front of the engine, where it's separated and taken down to each cylinder. The valve slides back and forth across the top of the cylinder, letting high-pressure steam in to push the piston one way, and opening on the other side when the piston moves back, letting the steam out. Each stroke of the piston pushes the rods which turn the wheels. The escaping steam and smoke on each side of the stroke of the piston create the chugging sound we all know.
All right, now, however, we get the big movement, and that is Nicholas Augustus Otto. You see him in the middle, and he creates the internal combustion engine. The problem with steam engines is that if you want to get and move larger cargoes, you need bigger engines, and that takes, trains are big, steamships are big, and they had to have so much of their area that they actually had to use for the engines. Nicholas Augustus Otto creates the internal combustion engine, which of course is an engine that uses gasoline, a carburetor, and spark plugs to move the engines and the pistons. Now this is huge because it's so much smaller. To give you an idea of how important the the steam engine you can say is more important because it started it, but the internal combustion engine created by Otto, and the first one he did was just a two-stroke engine. This, unless it's a jet engine, guys, this engine is used in anything that is gas powered, and in many cases even electrical power in the world. So are your cars, your motorcycles, your little scooters, the Vespa some random guy might drive, or even your lawnmowers or weed whackers are all this, including the biggest invention that does come out of it is the automobile. On the left is one of Otto's earliest automobiles, which, by the way, were invented in Germany. Otto is a German, and guys like Gottlieb Daimler and Carl Benz, who created the company Mercedes-Benz. But of course, I like it because over here I have my Corolla. It's not my exact color, but that is the Corolla that I drive, and I like it. And I like my Corolla, and I thank Nicholas Augustus Otto for it. Now, also to build all this stuff, we need higher end iron and steel. So coal was often used to create fires to make iron. Well, it turns out when coal is burned a certain way, it can create a byproduct called coke, which is a purified form of coal, which burns a lot hotter and is cheaper than charcoal. As a result, they had higher heats, which they're able to make these things on the right there called a blast furnace, which the process that was designed to create high-end steel in 1856 by Henry Bessemer. Now you had lighter steel, but that was stronger than actual iron, and you could build ships and everything from it. And if you look at your buildings today and you look at these giant ships, including our aircraft carriers and stuff like that, it is all built from steel, and we're going to have huge navies, and you're going to get like the Eiffel Tower and the Empire State Building, and all of these things are going to be built because of this in industrialization. And then the idea came, well, what if we put everything in one spot? Prior to this time period, you had the putting out system, which meant that individuals were paid to work on materials and create things from their home, and then they would put them out. The problem is this is ineffective to keep up with demand. Well, now that we have machines to do all the work, and you can see all these female textile workers, okay, you can create lots of products. You have centralized production, most often in cities, and the workers don't have to be specialized. They can actually be unskilled but trained. So what this does actually is create more jobs. And in the end, with these machines, this is huge, and more people are going to move to cities. That's why we all live in the cities and the suburbs today. Now, of course, the downside of it is that eventually we're going to create, AI, artificial intelligence, where you get Skynet or the Matrix, as you see these guys here, and then it's all going to be a horrible war. But, at least we have iPhones now. And now Europe is in charge. They have their natural resources. They have their factory system. They are dropping the mic, and they are walking off. Get your comments and questions.